The first scheduling algorithm, first come, first serve. The main idea is that run until done, the first in, first out algorithm. So a process which comes first will get the CPU for as much time as he needs. And then when he is finished, the process came second will get the CPU. And then after that, the list will go on. So which process comes first will get the CPU first. Now, the first come first serve, okay, in the beginning, okay, the main one program runs non-preemptively until it is finished. So what is preemptive and non-preemptive? So in the operating system, there is actually this idea that you will soon understand after seeing some of the slides, that there are two ways we can actually distribute resources. First one is that if you give resources to certain process, you will not take it back until he is done. Another idea is that you will give a process, but you will take it back after a certain amount of time. So let's assume you have a printer. What you will do, you will allocate, printer will not be allocated to any process for more than 3 minutes. So what will happen that if 20 people want to use the printer, they can, because the first person will have it for 3 minutes, and then after that he will again have to wait in the line. Okay, so that's what is called preemptive and non-preemptive. We'll discuss this more later, inshallah. Now, as I was saying here, so first come first serve means that a process keeps the CPU until one or more threads block. So basically it is done. Now, for this example, okay, first what we have to find out, we have to find out three things. We have to find out the Gantt charts. Okay, we have to compute the average waiting time and average completion time. So what is a Gantt chart? Gantt chart is basically a picture like this, where what we do, we actually use a timeline to show that when a process came, when a process got the CPU and when it was taken back. So this Gantt chart actually means that when the time was 0, P1 process got the CPU, and when the time is 24, P2 got the CPU. When the time is 27, P3 got the CPU until 30. So basically it's showing that a process, when it gets the CPU, okay, and when the CPU actually switched back to another CPU, another process. Now, obviously, this is not the exactly ideal situation, because we have studied a dispatcher. We know there is a certain amount of time that is needed to switch from one instructions to another instruction. Okay, but for the ideal case, for now, for simplicity, we are just assuming that the CPU can instantly switch from one process to another process. Okay, so that we can actually focus mainly on the scheduling algorithms. Now, second one is called waiting time. So what is a waiting time? Waiting time means, let's assume a process arrived at, let's assume 5 p.m. Okay, so 5. A process arrived at 5. And he actually got the CPU at 7. So this 2 hour is actually his waiting time. So waiting time means when a process, the difference between when a process arrives and when a process gets the CPU. What is the completion time? Completion time is basically when the process is done. So here, as you can see, that if I talk about the completion time for P1 is 24, the completion time is for P2 is 27, the completion time for P3 is 30. So the completion time means that when you arrived and when you completed. Okay, so for this process, for this example, the process arrived at 5, he got the CPU at 7. So waiting time is 2 hours, right? And after 7, he had to work till 7:30, let's assume. Okay, so the completion time, okay, we can say the completion time is basically this total time, 2 hours 30 minutes. From when he arrived, that is 5 p.m. to 7:30. So the total difference between the arrival and finishing is the completion time. Anyways, so let's read the question. So here we have assumed that the three processes arrive at the same time, but P1 arrived first, P2 arrived second, and P3 arrived then. So P1 first, P2 second, and P3 third. Now, as P1 arrived first, P1 will get the CPU first. Okay, so from the 0 second, P1 gets the CPU until it is done. Now, there is another term we can see here that is called the burst time. What is burst time? Burst time means how much or what is the amount of time you need to use the CPU. So if you need to use the CPU for 24 seconds, the burst time is 24. If you need to use the CPU for 3 seconds, the burst time is 23 seconds. One information I want to give that it doesn't have to be 3 seconds. It can be 3 microsecond, 3 nanosecond, 3 picosecond. It depends on the CPU. Now, next thing is called what you have to do, you have to calculate the average waiting time, average completion time. So as P1 came first, P1 will get the CPU first. So P1 will go until 24 seconds. So P1 is done. Then P2 came, P2 will get at 24, 24 plus 3, 27. Okay. Then P3 will get it, P3 plus 3 equals to 30. So this is the time difference. Okay. Now, waiting time for P1. P1 got the CPU first. He didn't have to wait. Okay, so waiting time is 0. P2, on the other hand, okay, came again at the 0 second just after P1. Okay, but had to wait for 24 seconds before he got the CPU. So the waiting time for P2 is 24, and the waiting time for P3, he arrived at 0 just after P1 and P2, and he got it at 27th second. Okay, so his waiting time is 27. So in this way, we can actually calculate the waiting times, and if you just sum them up and divide by 3, you will get the average waiting time. So what does this average waiting time mean? That in average, any process in your computer have to wait 17 unit of time, 17 second or picosecond or anything, that you have to wait 17 unit of time before you get the CPU. Any process that arrives in your system have to wait 17 unit of time to get the CPU. Now, what is the completion time? Completion time means that you see P1 arrived at 0, completed at 24. So what is the difference between the arrival and finishing? 24 seconds. P2, he arrived at 0, but finished at 27. So what is the difference between his arrival time and finishing time? 27, right? We can just subtract those two. So, and same goes for P3. He arrived at 0, he went up to 30. So in this way, you see that the average completion time is 24, 27 plus 30. So 27 seconds. That means any process that is arriving in your system have to wait 27 seconds to finish. Or you can say that if you arrive at 7 p.m., okay, let's assume this is a unit of time. So we can say that you will be done by 7:27. So this is what the completion time means. Okay. Now let me repeat one more time. We are studying the scheduling algorithm, first come, first serve. Okay. That we have some new jargons word. First of all, is the burst time. Burst time means what amount of time you have to wait. You have to, okay, let me just pause the recording. We have the burst time means the amount of time a process needs to complete its task. Waiting time means that from the time moment of his arrival, the how much time he have to wait to get the CPU. Completion time means from the waiting of time of his arrival, how much he have to wait before he can finish his task. What we do, we find these parameters, we add them up and then calculate the average waiting time. We divide it by 3 because there are 3 processes, P1, P2, P3. If there were 4 processes, we divide by 4 and so on. Now, we will see another example of the same kind. Okay, so let's assume that what if the order have been changed? That means instead of the large process that is P1 arriving first, P2 and P3 came first. Okay, so still all of them, we are saying that all of them came at the 0 second. Okay, but in 0 second, P2 came first, and just after P2, P3 came, and then P1. So what happens now, you see, the burst time is also same. For P1 it is 24, P2 is 3, and P3 is 3. So the waiting time, there's a calculation mistake here. So what does waiting time means? How much time a process have to wait before getting the CPU. So as we can see, if P2 arrive first, P2 will instantly get the CPU. So the waiting time for P2 is basically 0. What is the time for P3? So after P2 is finished, P3 will get the CPU. So the waiting time is for P3 is 3 seconds. What is the waiting time for P1? P1 will get after P2 and P3 finished, so it will be 6. So the average waiting time will be 0 plus 3 plus 6 equals to 3. Now, one thing you will notice in the last one, it was 17 seconds. Now you are just have to wait 3 seconds just by changing the order, nothing else. They are the same process, they are taking the same amount of time. Okay, just you are giving P2 and P3 first, that means you change the order and you have a huge improvement in the performance. It's almost 5 times faster than the normal case. So if you have a computer that where you have this, uh, the order is P1, P2, P3, you have to wait 17 seconds, where in the other case, for the same computer, if you just change the order, you have to wait 3 seconds only. Same goes for completion time. As you can see, P2 is finished at 3 seconds. So for P2, we can say it's a 3 seconds. P3 finished at 6 seconds. Sorry, this will be 6. And P1 is get finished at 30 seconds. So again, total completion time is just now 13 seconds. Previously it was 27 seconds. So just by changing the order, okay, what we did, the same algorithm, the same computer, the same process, but just by changing the algorithm, we have made it lot faster. Okay, so that means the order of the operation matters. But the problem is that, the advantage of this scheduling algorithm is simple. You don't have to worry about anything else. Okay, you just have to write the code that the process comes first, gets served first. Very simple. Okay, short jobs, the problem is that short job, that is P2, P2, have to wait a long amount of time. Okay, if the order is not correct. And performance is highly dependent on the order of the job. Just the example we just seen. The order of the job actually highly affects the performance of the algorithm. So if the first case, the order was P1, P2, P3, the result was 17 seconds and 27 seconds. In the second case, the order was P2, P3, P1, you had to wait just 3 seconds and 13 seconds. So that's all about our first come, first serve algorithm. Now we will see that how we can actually improve this one.